Yeah, there we go. That's on. Slow that down a little bit. Just there we go. So I've got like that thing. Yeah. Hello, and welcome to Max Level Games. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the Max Level Games podcast. I am your host for this week, Mr. James Walters, usually joined by Mr. Liam Malcolm, but unfortunately, this week he has gone to the land of the green and the home of the Guinness, so hopefully he will be back soon-ish, maybe. We'll find out next week. For those returning listeners out there, welcome back. It's been way too long. Oh my god, I love what you've done with your hair. And for newcomers, this is the Max Level Games podcast. I'm going to sit here for an hour, probably more, talk about games, films, TV, and a bunch of other stuff too. Typically. We're on SoundCloud, as you can probably guess. We're on YouTube as well, as you can probably see. We also have a very active Facebook page over at facebook.com/MaxLevelGamesPodcast. So go give that a like, give this a like. Just show us all the love you can. We do really appreciate every single little bit. And the last thing to mention before we get into it is that, yes, this is a mature podcast. You are going to hear some selective language because we don't sugarcoat our opinions and such on this podcast. We don't sugarcoat nothing unless those things are donuts. Or those like little candy bacon strip looking things. Oh god, they're so good. So yeah, you have been warned. So the first section, as we always do, is games played. Now obviously the first thing I had to talk about, obviously, I'm not going to make the Marvelous joke again like I did last week, don't worry. The first thing I need to talk about is Marvel's Spider-Man, because yes, I finished the story, yes, I finished the game to 100% completion, and yes, I have platinumed that bitch, which, it's not as gratifying to say I platinumed it, because I'll explain without going into too much detail. Some of the a lot of the trophies are very, you'll kind of do them along the way. If you just go straight for the story missions and do none of the side quests or any of the stuff like that, you will miss out on a lot of trophies naturally. Whereas if you do a couple story missions and then, you know, meander over to one area of New York City and do all kinds of side quests and objectives, you will get other aspects of trophies. And naturally, that's how I played the game. I didn't burn straight through the story. I didn't want to. So I naturally unlocked a lot of trophies in the game. There was a couple that I didn't really know about. In fact, I'll explain this as well. I have poor internet where my console is. So in order to sync up my trophies and find out how many I had left, I had to basically maneuver my system around. And when I finally did that, I only realized I was missing one trophy, which is one of those trophies that's like, you wouldn't think to do unless you were told to do it, if that makes sense. I won't go into detail. Although really, it's not really a spoiler, so I could mention it. It's essentially a trick you can do with one of the web gadgets. I'll just say that. You can figure out the rest yourselves or Google it yourselves, but one of the trophies is you have to use a certain web gadget in a certain way so many times. The only thing I hate to say this because honestly, this game is just it was so brilliant to play, but yeah, as I say, earning the platinum didn't feel gratifying, if that makes sense. Like, you'll find out at the end of the game, there's a sort of secret objective thing you can do to unlock a suit. Again, really trying to be very fucking vague here. And it's really hard to do, obviously. It's a secret challenge, you know, it's not like the rest of the challenges which are signposted across the entire map. This one's very, very difficult. It takes time. But other than the suit, you don't get much for it, if that makes sense. You essentially, you just get a suit. There's no trophy attached to it, and in fact, one of the trophies involved is to get all the suits, as you'd probably imagine. That trophy does not include this extra suit. So really, this extra suit and this whole objective is just literally for the players who, I suppose, really just want to spend more time in the game and more time swinging around, which, as I say, it was handy for me at the time because I was sort of finishing off some of the 100% completion objectives throughout the game. So it kind of worked out well, I guess. But as I say, my whole gripe here is just the fact that Platinum didn't feel gratifying to unlock. Honestly, the rest of the game, I cannot fault it. I'm so super excited for whatever the feck comes next. Be it DLC or a sequel game, which we're probably not going to see for 2 or 3 years at this place. But, like, I want to spend more time in this game. Like, I've finished it all now. I'm playing other stuff that I've got to get through. And I know for a fact that like day one, when the DLC comes out for The City That Never Sleeps, which yes, I did get the season pass for it. I don't care. I don't care really. I want to play it. I will be on it, back on it day one. You watch. I will be on there day one to see what the new DLC is. But yeah, Marvel Spider-Man, great game. I'd highly recommend anyone play it. I will not spoil the game. And speaking of spoilers, there is something to discuss later to do with spoilers. That's one of our news stories this week. But we're going to move on right now to another game I played. Well, I say played. I dabbled in it a little bit. So, I mentioned that the other week I played a game called Floorplan, which is by Turbo Button Development. It's a PSVR game. It was like you were stuck in a lift or an elevator if you're American, and you had to solve puzzles. And some of the puzzles were pretty fucking wacky and out there. And as Liam so elegantly pointed out last week, no, I didn't think to put the coin in the big room and then go back to the small room and then, yeah, whatever. So yeah, it isn't, but this is very different. It's a lot more, it's a platformer essentially. And whereas Floorplan was very, okay, here's some pieces, maneuver around, you've got all these various areas to go to, try and figure these things out, and the solutions weren't always so cut and dry. The thing with Along Together is what this game is called, is very much, here is everything in front of you, go ahead, figure out how to get across, and enjoy. And I haven't played much of it, I will admit. I think I got only up to chapter 2 because I was playing other things in the time and had other things to do, you know, adulty stuff, which is a shame. But I'm enjoying it, I must say. This is another one of those games I picked up on sale. I couldn't tell you how much I bought it for, like, this sale price wise. It was definitely under £10, which I think, again, I haven't finished the full game, so I can't say like wholeheartedly yes it's worth that price under £10, or if it's worth more than that, but that's just one I've just thought I'd mention. It's quite fun. The whole premise is, I'm not going to get into spoilers again because it's not been out for a year. Actually, no, wait, no, yeah, it's not been out for a year, sorry. You can either choose to play as a guy or a girl, or a boy and a girl, because like kids and stuff, and your dog has gone missing and you have to find your dog, really. That's the gist of the game, and you're essentially always following the dog along until you eventually catch up to it. One of the missions I just played, you worked with the dog to get past the area, but again, that's all I will say on the matter. I'd say it's worth a look. I'd definitely say worth a look on budget price, but again, I can't justify my my stance on paying for the game until I've finished the full thing, which should hopefully be by next week. But moving on, I'm going to mention that yes, I did finish, or should I say refinish, the first episode of Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy game. And I've now just finished, like I finished it last night, episode 4. Now the awkward thing about this game, the very awkward thing about Telltale games is obviously all the episodes don't come out in one time, because that wouldn't be as fun to have to get it all in one go like you do at Netflix. So while I can talk about episodes 1, 2, and 3, if I wanted to go into depth and spoilers and stuff, that's absolutely fine, because they've been out for over a year. And for those who are new, I should probably mention, if a game has been out for over a year, or a film's been out for over a year, here on the Max Stella Games podcast, we are going to spoil the fuck out of it. But episode 4 hasn't, because episode 4 came out on the 10th of October 2017. Unfortunately, as right today is the 19th of September, so I can't spoil episode 4, not by our own rules. So that's fine, I won't. I will say, however, I am very, very intrigued to get back and play the 5th and final episode to see what happens. Oh goodness, what can I talk about really? I think for one thing I should mention, if you've played a Telltale game before, you're not going to find anything new here, other than the fact that it's a new set of characters, a new story. Same engine and mechanics, different coat of paint. So, what else? Yes, you do. I should mention as well, you do get a chance to play as the other members of the Guardians throughout the series. You primarily play as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. You sort of potter between the other characters. Like in the first episode, you have like a whole fight scene thing with Thanos. You do quick time events for specific characters, but you don't really do much other than that. There are a few sections. There's a section in episode 2 where you like have a flashback with Rocket Raccoon, and you you decide how that scene goes, really, essentially. And it's things like that, because a lot of the overall like plot of this series, I guess, is memories and the past. So there's a lot of flashbacks. So you do have moments where you play as other characters via flashbacks. Like you play as Nebula for one section, that was episode 3. You play as Gamora for a bit as well, episode 3. And yeah, things like that. So far, not played as Groot yet, but I don't know what to expect if that ever comes about to play as Groot. I'd imagine it would play out something like he will say "I am Groot" all the time, but the dialogue options would just have different like actual sentences in there that you can try and have a conversation with, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to it. I don't see where the way the plot's going. Again, not spoiling anything. Episode 4, because that's again not been out for a year. I don't see there being any sort of really streamlined way to do a Groot section of the game in episode 5, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I'll just have to come back to you guys on that one next week. Sort of, again, spoilers and such. But I'm looking forward to finishing that off. And speaking of something that needed finishing off, oh my god. Okay, so bit of context for you here right now. I'm kind of into my puzzle games. Back when I was a lot younger, I used to play the hell out of like the CSI games on PC. And I used to love them. I was obsessed. I played them all the time. I could get through them in seconds. I was always searching out for another CSI game to play because I really enjoyed it. So I like sort of my crime, like mystery style games, puzzle wise, like Danganronpa. I fucking love that game. That is brilliant. And things like that. So when a game that's very similar in scope, was released many moons ago, I realize now it's been out for over 17 years, as was brought to my eye, I essentially bought the whole fucking series on my DS, and only just got around to fucking playing it. The series is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, or I suppose it's called Ace Attorney series, but this is the first Phoenix Wright game. It's basically, I bought the trilogy on my 3DS, as well as this the 3DS title Dual Destinies, I believe it's called, and then the third one, which is Spirit of Justice. So I played the very first game of the trilogy, so it's obviously Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I really enjoy it, I must admit. I've been up like till fucking near 11:30, 12 o'clock at night recently, just kind of playing there on my DS, like pitch black everywhere else. I'm lying awkwardly in bed, just like with the DS in my hands. It's been, oh god, horrendous. But oh goodness, I've really enjoyed it, I must admit. My only gripe is that sometimes the links they want you to make aren't always super obvious. So like, I mean, to say it out loud now will probably sound very obvious, but at the time I wasn't thinking this way, which is probably more to say about me than anything else, but that's by the by. So there's this one part in episode 4, episode 4, where you are interrogating, well, you're hearing a testimony from a witness to a crime, yada yada yada. She mentions something along the lines, she turned out to be a photographer looking for this like lake monster thing, and she says something along the lines of course I was looking at the boat, what else would I be looking at on the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve? And the game naturally thinks, then the game wants me to show her this piece of evidence that's like, you are looking for the sea monster, lake monster thing, because up to this point she's mentioned it, but it's never really been the whole purpose. She's at the trial, she's meant to be there testifying to witnessing murder, obviously. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So, as I say, the game wants me to basically present her with this article about the lake monster, be like, you would have been looking for this, so your attention could have been anywhere else, because it said the creature made a loud bang, and that's how you're going to find the creature. And that's how it progressed. Up until that point, I'd actually, like, died. I'd game over for, like, a couple times beforehand, because it works in, like a 5-point system. If you make a mistake during a trial, it counts as being penalized. If you run out of penalties, you have to restart over from a save point or a chapter point, which was also a bitch as well, I realised, because I think it was that same chapter, or episode should I say, there was a trial that I fucked up and didn't realise that I hadn't saved it until the chapter, till that like section of the episode started, which felt like fucking forever ago. So I had to burn through that again, and then get back to where I was to then struggle once again. So this is the kind of game that I think is actually right up my street, because it feels very rewarding to figure out the mystery or to unlock the puzzle that's in front of you, but it's at the same time it's not going to hold your hand that much. It will sort of give you sly hints when you press like the witness in certain parts of the testimony to get more information out of them. It will sort of give you hints to say this is where you should probably, either press further, like get more information out of them, persist in getting information out of them, or throw a piece of evidence at them that proves they're wrong or they're lying. But other than that, it doesn't handhold really at all. So, but yeah, I've put it finished on my notes because the whole story seems set as 4 episodes, but then it did the whole thing where the credits roll and it goes, hang on, there is a bonus episode 5, Rise from the Ashes. So I'm actually presently in the middle of that. My DS is kind of dying. You can probably see it back there if you're watching on YouTube. It's right behind me on my desk, just charging away because I've been hammering the fuck out of it recently. So yeah. But that's about it for games played this week. My plan is to finish Guardians episode 5. I'll finish along together as well. I'm going to play more Phoenix Wright on the side as well, so we can discuss all about these things next week. But right now, we have to move on to the film news for this week, because we do have a decent chunk of news, and some of them, I'd argue, are like pretty fucking big stories, guys. So we're going to get onto that right now. And moving on now to the film news for this week, we have 2 very pretty big pieces of news, I'd argue, this week, but they're both from both sides of the comic book movie field. We got big Marvel news and big DC news. But as always, we're gonna start with Marvel, move on to DC, and then round up with anything else we have to talk about. I think is worth talking about. So yeah, the first big story for Marvel is Captain Marvel got a fucking trailer out of nowhere. Well, I say out of nowhere. It's kind of rumored or like hinted at it was gonna come out soon with all the Entertainment Weekly stuff. But yeah, we now have a trailer. Oh god, I don't even know what to say. It looks pretty good. Speaking as someone who knows nothing about Captain Marvel, only going off of what I've heard various other people talk about with this film, I'm looking forward to it. I'm struggling to remember now if the Skrulls were actually in this trailer, because I'm very excited about the Skrulls, in case you couldn't tell. Excuse me. But I'm looking forward to them anyway. We see a bit of Jude Law, I remember that, and then Samuel Jackson's all youngified for Nick Fury. That was pretty strange. I'm looking forward to it, definitely. But this story also comes with a bit of a caveat, because there are people out there who are already mad about it, which isn't even really a story, really, because something new drops, and of course people are mad about it for some fucking stupid reason. The reason people are mad about this right now is because apparently the CGI is not very good, and I'm just like, guys, this film is 6 months away from release. We're probably gonna be working on this film up until The Wire. They're gonna be working on it to like mid to late February. I think it's got like a mid or late March release date at the minute. They're gonna be working on it for a while. All the stuff in this trailer was just sort of like they made this over the last couple of months or weeks or whatever it is to present to us now, to give us something to look forward to. So chill the fuck out. Essentially, that's kind of what I'm getting at. This is nowhere near representative of the final product. Trailers hardly ever really are representation of the final product, unless that film is very close to being done, which this is not. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, I'm pretty sure it's only recently stopped filming, so they're clearly in post-production. Getting in a bit of a rant right now, but you understand what I'm getting at. It's just, it bothers me, that's all. But moving on to a more light-hearted, or at least like looking forward to something news-wise. The Disney Fox deal, we don't talk about this in a while because nothing's to be talked about, but we do have a bit of news now. We found out that there is one last thing that needs to be confirmed, essentially, until all Marvel's chickens can come home to roost. I think that's the way the saying goes. But you guys know what I mean. X-Men, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, all of them come back home to Marvel. As soon as the European assets for Disney and Fox have all said yes, or decided how they want to go away with this acquisition, which they have until, according to the sources, 16th of October to decide. Realistically, we've talked about this a few times before. Realistically, there shouldn't really be an issue here. Without this acquisition, Fox is dead. I think that's a safe way of putting it. You can look into other people who've said the same thing. I've mentioned his name before, and I'll mention him again. Armin from Comic Book Cast, a million times I mentioned him. He does like proper in-depth discussions on these things because he knows a lot more about the analytics of Hollywood than I do. So, or Liam does even. So if you want to know more in-depth analysis-wise, I'd highly recommend searching Comic Book Cast out on YouTube. But yeah, he was specifying that without this merger, without this acquisition, Fox is going to go bankrupt and have a lot more people lose jobs in the near future. Whereas while people are still going to lose jobs with this acquisition, it's going to be a lot less than what it would be if Fox just up and died. So it's sort of a lesser of two evils approach, I suppose, if you're very obsessed with people losing their jobs, which, is a fair thing to be concerned over. It's people's livelihood they're going to lose. But at the end of the day, again, this is the lesser of two evils. You either shoot 10,000 people in the face or only shoot 1,000. So, you know what I mean? It's just that kind of... It's probably a very poor analogy to work with, but that's kind of what I'm going for. Moving on, Marvel-wise, we have Venom. Now, Venom is very close to release. In fact, it's coming out on the 5th of October here in the UK, which is essentially 2 weeks on Friday? Yeah, 2 weeks on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. Really, I love Venom. I've mentioned how I love Venom before. I'll mention it again. I love Venom. He's a brilliant villain, in my opinion. This movie has finally got an official rating. PG-13. At least that's how it is in the States. I'm not sure how that converts properly over here, but probably like a 13 or a 15 or something over here. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to look into that for you guys next time. And yeah, that's its official rating. It's not going to be R-rated. It's going to be PG-13. But I have hopes for that because, as we've mentioned prior, directors and people involved have all said they're sort of pushing the boundaries of PG-13. We're probably going to see a lot of very soft-core gore. Let's go with that. Soft-core gore. Probably the best way of putting it. But speaking of Venom, we have to mention... Oh, God, it brings me so much happiness to mention this. We have finally got some confirmation on the fact of if Spider-Man is going to be in this film or not. And you know what? He's not. I'm sorry to be so blunt about this, and some people may consider that a spoiler, but really, you shouldn't have considered this a spoiler, because I don't know why anyone thought he was going to be in this film. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was having my hopes that he may appear, like they are going to link this into the MCU, but let's be honest, they're not. This is a Sony-done thing. It may be in association with Marvel Studios and all the rest or whatever, but this is a Sony's own thing. Because if this tanks and fails and just is like a dumpster fire, then Marvel are going to be like, well, this is not to do with us. This is all them. They have these IPs that they don't give back to us. So, decide with your wallets if you think they should keep all those IPs. So yeah, Spider-Man's not going to be in the film. It is a standalone film of Venom. It's his origin story, or it's a telling of a Venom origin story. There's no Tom Holland. He doesn't make some kind of sly cameo. There is no mention of a Peter Parker anywhere, or you don't see or hear about Spider-Man. So, go into Venom for Venom. Don't go into it expecting to see Spidey pop up, because he's not going to be there, guys. Just go in for Venom. If you're a Venom fan like I am, go watch a Venom movie, because this one actually looks pretty cool, okay? Okay, cool. Flipping over the coin now, we're going to look at DC. Now, again, this is the second big film story we have this week because we just lost our Superman. Well, I say we lost him. It's a sort of a weird situation. Like, Warner Brothers released a statement that they won't really clarify he's gone. Henry Cavill posted this weird Instagram video that doesn't really clear up anything at all. But the gist of it is that he's no longer Superman because... I'm not too sure on the specifics of why, but I think it's to do more with the fact that scheduling conflicts and contracts and stuff. I believe he has like a bit of a cameo thing in Shazam, which I'm not sure if he's actually going to be appearing in or not. And that was his last appearance contract-wise. He's also got The Witcher coming up as well, which he's probably very looking forward to. So there's that. And on the back of this, there's been other reports saying that Warner Brothers really want to see Michael B. Jordan replace Henry Cavill as Superman. Now, again, my knowledge of DC Comics is very, very limited. I know probably like entry-level knowledge. I'm not aware that there's a black Superman. There could be. There probably is. Let's be honest. The kind of variety of multiverses and such in comic books. There's probably a Black Superman. But the problem that faces is we already have an established white Superman, classical white Superman in DC's universe. So in order to introduce out of nowhere a Black Superman, we're gonna have to have like a proper. They're gonna have to have like a proper shuffle around with all kinds of business over at the DC EU or World of DC, whatever the fuck they're calling it. Now you see, sources have said that there is not going to be another standalone Superman movie for a few years yet, mainly because, and the way it's looking is they're focusing on Supergirl. They're looking to make an origin film of Supergirl, and she's going to be the headline super of the DCEU for a while. Again, if that's the case they're going, at some point she's going to have to appear alongside a Superman, so again, it needs some explaining. Not that I'm saying Michael B. Jordan would not be a great Superman. I don't know, of course. I've seen him play Eric Killmonger in Black Panther, and that was fucking awesome. While I hate Fantastic Four, I didn't hate him that much, really. I just thought the film was awful. I only recently watched Creed, and he's pretty sick in that. So, I think he'd be great for it. But yeah, and speaking of other, like casting, rumor, replacement sort of dealies, we've known for a while that Ben Affleck is sort of like very, very on the fence about being Batman. And we've heard a few names this week tossed around who want to be Batman, like John Hamm. He's mentioned how he wants to be Batman. But I think in his statement he says along the lines of like scheduling conflicts is why he can't do it. But then another name has come up that not many people are talking about, but there are a few sources who have thrown this name out there to replace Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman in the DCEU, or at least for the solo Batman movie, which if this was just like a case of it's just him for the film and then Batfleck for the rest of any other stuff, that would make no sense, because I mean I can picture these two people separately in my head, but imagining one as a younger version of the other, I just can't. And this person is Mr. Jon Snow himself, Kit Harington. Now, again, not the most like extensive knowledge of this actor's background. I literally know him as Jon Snow. I know he appeared in a Silent Hill film at one point. He was also in that film Pompeii, which I never saw. I heard it was pretty good though, or decent at least. Can he do an American accent? And if he can, is it believable? Because Bruce Wayne and Batman suddenly can't just be English or Northern English. That would be pretty weird, wouldn't it? I am Batman. Batman, lad. Batman. That's what I am. No, see, that wouldn't work at all. I think that's a bit of an odd choice. I wouldn't object to it. I'd like to see it first more than anything else. I think that would be one along the lines of, it'd probably have the same reaction it would when Batfleck was announced. A lot of people looked and went, Ben Affleck as Batman, are you fucking kidding me? And most of us were like, well, it wouldn't be awful. We'll see. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of like Batfleck. I think he's pretty good. I think he does well with what he's given, to be honest. Again, I still not to Justice League. Probably not gonna at this point, but yeah. But Kit Harington as Batman, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I love him, and I think it definitely give us all either way. But Kit Harington as the new Caped Crusader, I want to know what you guys think about that. But moving on a little bit, we have news about the Joker, or at least Joaquin Phoenix's Joker film, which is filming as of right now. There's actually a video out there. I think it was on Polygon's website that I saw it, of people like filming on set in New York. We have, and then along with this footage, the director / whatever his name is, he released a like official shot of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Now, it's not all made up and green-haired and clown prince of crime Joker. It's his human form, should we say, for lack of a better word, who has a name. His name is Arthur Fleck, which I know I've read The Killing Joke. I don't remember it that well, though, because it was a long time ago. I assume that is a lot more in line with The Killing Joke comic book. So, but yeah, people aren't too fond of that at the minute though either. Again, first looks, all these kind of things, people aren't very happy about these things. But they've mentioned numerous times this is going to be an origin story. We might not even see full-on green hair, white face, genocide happy Joker in this film. And if we do, it might even just be like a last-minute fucking shot thing where he just literally just turns into the clown prince of crime. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. But at the end of the day, this is just one of those things that's going to be, it's going to be different. People aren't going to like it, but as we've already mentioned before, Joaquin Phoenix doesn't give a shit if you like it or not, because this is how he's going to do it. So take that how you will. And the last thing we're going to talk about, this isn't really a news story for me. This is a news story for everyone else out there, because I'm not a fan of Avatar, The Last Airbender, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, series-wise. It wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. I didn't even watch that film that came out years ago, because I wasn't interested. And then it turned out to be total trash. So, kind of dodged the bullet there, really. Well, apparently, they're working on a live-action series over at Netflix, because of course they are. Everything's getting a live-action series on Netflix these days. And it's not live-action, it's animated. They're going to start production in 2019. And the guys who are going to be running it or helming it are the guys who actually made the original series. Brian Konietzko? I think that's how you pronounce it. Konietzko? Brian Konietzko and Michael DiMartino. They're going to be working with Netflix and Nickelodeon on the series. No idea yet about how many episodes we're going to get or who's going to be in it. There was a bit of a statement released where they mentioned it will not be a whitewashed cast, which, really, when you think about it, it's a shame we have to mention that at this day and age. Can we not just give people, if a character is meant to be a certain ethnicity, give them that ethnicity? Whatever. I'm not getting into this, so yeah. That's something to look forward to for all the Last Airbender fans out there. Again, no word about if when we're going to see anything or who's going to be in it, but keep your ears to the ground on that one. Probably find out more later the year, end of the year, imagine, because like I said, they're planning to start filming it next year, early 2019. And that is it for the film news. It's quite brief this week, but this time we have a lot, and I mean a lot of fucking game news to go through, guys. So we're going to do that right now. And now for the final section of this week's podcast, the game news, as always. There's something a lot brighter in here, is it just me? So, as I say, we have a lot to go over this week. A lot of story. We have a fair few stories, and a lot of them have a lot of detail in them. So this is going to be a lengthy gaming news section this week. But we are getting close to Tokyo Game Show. I'm pretty sure it's actually next week. I could be wrong. I'll let you guys know. So we have stuff leading up to that to look forward to. But the first thing I'm going to mention is something that actually got announced today. It was something I woke up to this morning. I was like, what the frig? PlayStation. They're throwing their hat into this whole retro miniature version of their console ring with the PlayStation Classic. It is going to be released on the 3rd of December this year, 2018, for $99.99 US dollars, or just £90 straight out. It's going to come with 20 preloaded games inside the system. We only know about 5 of them so far, but the two highlights of that little snippet so far are Final Fantasy VII and Tekken 3. Those are the two big, the biggest legendary titles that have been announced, and the others will be announced at a later date. The whole system is approximately 45% smaller than the original PlayStation, which, as you guys may know, is that the flat box, silver-looking thing with the flap open lid. It's one of them. It was specified. There's a whole video about it as well, where they go into depth. You can obviously there's the power button to turn the thing on. You press the reset button, which back in the day was obviously to reset the game. It will suspend gameplay like PS4 does, really. And then the open button, like which you'd use to open this tray and stuff. That will be how you swap out the games that you want to play on the system. It's going to come with a HDMI cable, a USB cable, and 2 of the original controllers. And I'm talking no analog stick controllers, so we're going way fucking back, guys. We're going way back with this thing. I don't know if I'm going to buy it, to be honest with you. I think Final Fantasy VII, yeah, I'm down for that. Tekken 3, I'm not a fighter guy, but I've made a promise to my missus that if a fighting game appears, I'll give it a go if she plays it with me, because apparently she's amazing at it, so we'll find out about that. I'm going to wait and see what the other games on this list are, or at least what other games are coming out on the system. If they don't put Crash Bandicoot and Spyro in there, they're definitely missing something. But they definitely will, let's be honest. They may only put one Spyro game in there because of the Reignited Trilogy coming out in November. But they need to throw at least one in there, so we'll see on that matter. But yeah, PlayStation Classic. I'm looking forward to it, sort of. I don't know. I didn't really want to get the what did we get? What were the classic systems were? Was it the NES Classic? I can't remember. those are the classic Nintendo things that they've been releasing that are sold out like hotcakes. We're getting one of them for PlayStation, so that should be pretty interesting either way. Moving on, as I said, Tokyo Game Show is coming up very soon, and Sony are going to be there in a big way. They've actually revealed like the lineup of what's going to be revealed, announced, yada yada yada. Well, not announced, but revealed, shown off, yada yada yada. If you guys want the full like schedule information, you can go to the website gematsu.com. That's gematsu.com, Gematsu, and you can find on there the full schedule, timetable, all this thing. But the highlights I've been shown for the timeline as I say, this is a big fucking list. We're going to see Resident Evil 2. We're going to see a new demo and a new trailer. Devil May Cry 5, new demo, new trailer. God Eater 3 is going to be there. Digimon Survive is going to get a new trailer. Ghost of Tsushima is getting a new trailer. Death Stranding, getting a new trailer. Days Gone will be playable there and a new trailer. I believe they're actually going to have like a big section of the game show conference of the floor dedicated to Days Gone, because that is the next big PS exclusive on the horizon. Assassin's Creed Odyssey will get a new trailer. World of Final Fantasy Maxima, which I found out today is a new game they've announced, which is essentially World of Final Fantasy but with all the DLC or extra bits on it. That's going to get a new trailer. Left Alive will get a trailer. Kingdom Hearts 3 will be playable and have a trailer. Just Cause 4 will have a trailer. Hitman 2 will have a trailer. Skull and Bones, which is that pirate ship fighting thing from Ubisoft, that's getting a trailer. Dead or Alive 6 is going to be playable and have a trailer. Gungrave will have a trailer. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it sounds pretty fun. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice will be playable and have a trailer. And they're going to also have presentations and stuff where they're going to show off specific games in like big 1 hour to 45 minute blocks. Which is Dreams. They're going to show off Dreams on stage for an hour. Dreams is one of those games that I think everyone kind of forgot about. It was announced along with the PS4 when that first got revealed, and we've just we've seen bits and bobs throughout. They're definitely taking the time with this game. It's not too far off the end of the PS4's life cycle, and they're probably going to release it hopefully soon. Black Ops 4 is going to be at this presentation as well as Days Gone, obviously, as I say, next to big exclusive. So that is a lot of stuff. I'm personally looking forward to seeing the new trailer for Digimon Survive. As I say, I'm looking forward to that. Resident Evil 2, looking forward to that. DMC5, I will let you know if I'm looking forward to that after I play DMC4. What else was on there? Kingdom Hearts 3, obviously. World of Final Fantasy. Now, you see, I played World of Final Fantasy, and I didn't really get into it, so much so that I actually sold it on, and I've never really gone back to it. But I feel like it's because I wasn't in the mood for it. Looking at it, I would actually give it a proper chance. So I might go back to it with this Maxima thing and have all the DLC and whatnot. I think that's essentially what we're getting. But yeah, so yeah, that's like the biggest highlights from this scheduling. You can look at, as I say, you look for yourself at Gematsu and see the proper schedule for things as and when it happens. I swear it's next week. It must be next week. We've heard so much about Tokyo Game Show now. It must actually be happening soon. We'll find out. But moving on. Now this story is a bit of an odd one. Now you see, how do I put this? We all want Crash Team Racing to come back, right? We loved Crash Team. Crash Team Racing was a great like kart racing game back in the day. And they've mentioned a few times that they'd be willing to remaster it, I believe. But there's evidence that's come out to assume that actually might not be too far away, or at least not too far out the realm of possibility. Essentially, the PlayStation Asia members received a survey about the kind of games they've been playing, or like what they've played in the past, or what they have been playing recently, or maybe shit like that. And the games in this list, fairly standard stuff. The Last of Us, very big PlayStation exclusive. Metal Gear Solid 5 was a very big game when that came out. The Uncharted series, a great series of PlayStation exclusive games. And then out of nowhere, they threw Crash Bandicoot Racing in there, which, as you can see, it's like the old, is it Sesame Street? I don't know, it's like, one of these things is not like the other. Which, as I say, stands out quite a bit. So that's why people are thinking, is this them hinting at the fact that we will get a Crash Team Racing remaster? Well, in the same vein as NSYNC Trilogy, where it's all from the ground up, which, not gonna lie, I'd be all down for that. I've kind of been playing Crash Team Racing on the off, like every now and again on my PS3, but to have it all brand spanking new and shiny like NSYNC Trilogy, yeah, I'm down for that any day of the week. There were rumors. There's been rumors since back in February that Activision are going to give us a new Crash Bandicoot game in 2019, but they've also stress the fact that that game, if it exists, will be a new title, a new Crash Bandicoot game. So, again, it's one of these things, like, pinch of salt all the way. We'd all love to see a Crash Team Racing remaster, but would we also like to see a new Crash game in the same vein as, you know, the classic Crash games? I certainly would. I don't know about you guys. But we'll have to just hold up. We just have to wait on that one. If anything, we won't hear anything about that until E3 of next year, or maybe even sooner. We'll find out. Moving on to the Xbox side of things. Alan Wake was a game exclusive to the Xbox 360, if I remember correctly. I don't remember how well it did, unfortunately. I know people really enjoyed it, and was there a pseudo sequel, like a spin-off game they released? They had like 2 games, I'm sure. Well, either way, that series is becoming a TV series eventually. It's gonna be helmed. Hang on, let me get my words on this right. The series creator of this TV show will be Sam Lake, who is the other way around. The executive producer is Sam Lake, who is the guy who made the Alan Wake games. I do apologize for that. And Peter Calloway is going to be the showrunner. They are working with a company called Contradiction Films to make the show, with the first game being a quote-unquote starting point for this series. It's not really mentioned yet if it's going to be canonical to the series as a whole or anything like that, but it will sort of take the story that people already experienced with Alan Wake and expand upon it. So if you're a fan of that game, you've got something to look forward to there. As I say, I haven't played it. Obviously, it's an Xbox thing. I don't have an Xbox. But I'm excited for the fans out there who are excited for this news. But we have some, it's less than exciting news, sort of. Sea of Thieves, which was a PlayStation, Xbox One exclusive. I do apologise. They came out this year, I think, actually. I had a bit of a mixed reaction to it, really. They plan to fix a lot of that with an update called Forsaken Shores. I don't know much about what's going to be in there, other than the fact it's going to be a new biome, a volcanic biome called Devil's Roar. Have like geysers, volcanic spots, boiling hot water, these kind of things. That update was due to come out today, in fact, the 19th of September, but it was delayed. Not very much, mind you. It's literally been delayed like a week. It's coming out now on the 27th of September. Apparently over the weekend, Rare and the developers of Rare had like a session with their quote pioneers on the testing development of the game. They were doing some final tests just to see how the new update was doing, and they found some bugs, or like a memory issue, I think they called it, which made the whole build of the game unstable. So unfortunately it had to be delayed while they fixed out these last few bugs. But as I say, it's delayed for all of about a week. So if you're enjoying Sea of Thieves, or you have been playing it recently, or you're looking forward to playing it when it gets better, then 27th is when there'll be a fresh update of the game to go to. So, but moving on again to the other console frontrunner, Nintendo. They had a big direct this week. I think it was the direct that got delayed because of the earthquake. I'm not too sure on that. But they talked about a lot of things. These next 2 or 3 stories are about Nintendo, so buckle in, non-Nintendo fans and Nintendo fans as well. So the Nintendo Online service, we've known this is coming from day one with Nintendo. Up until actually, I think now, in fact, is when it's actually in effect. Playing online with Nintendo has been absolutely free. So Mario Kart, Splatoon, Fortnite, all these things have been absolutely free. No paid subscription whatsoever to play online. That is about to change. You do have to pay to play online. It's going to be a subscription service. But you will also get NES games to play, like emulated in high definition, with like a whole leaderboard thing incorporated as well, with the subscription service. We have 3 prices so far. Now, these are only in dollar formats, but I've heard that they will be converted to pounds identically. So, a 1-month plan, for example, is $3.99 in dollars. I think that will essentially be the exact same thing in pounds, so $3.99. There's also a 3-month plan, which is $7.99, and then a yearly plan or 12-month plan for $19.99. But as I say, this involves online play. You get NES classic games to play on the system. There's a few that they've shown off, but some that aren't available yet. As well as cloud storage is also a thing, and such like that. They've announced a bunch of games. Essentially, Final Fantasy. The whole, not the entire series, obviously, but various games throughout the whole chronology or series of Final Fantasy games is coming to Switch. They've announced quite a few, so bear with me on this. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered is coming out in 2019. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD, which is the mobile phone version of Final Fantasy 15, is available now. Actually, you can go on your Switch right now on the eStore and Nintendo Store and buy it right now on the eShop. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. It's available right now to buy. I think when I saw the price, it was £16, which I think is fairly reasonable, I guess. I don't know much about the Pocket Edition. I played the full edition on the PS4. I don't know anything about the Pocket Edition. So, moving on. The World of Final Fantasy Maxima, that's also coming on the 6th of November. That's when it will come out on other systems as well. There's another game called Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Everybody, not everybody, everybody is coming out this winter. No date on that just yet. It's very similar to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. I assume it's made by a similar developer, or just it's essentially the same game with a different coat of paint. Final Fantasy 12. Trying to read the Roman numerals, yeah. 12 is coming out 2019 as well. And then there are other classic titles that are coming out next year, including Final Fantasy 7, which I would assume to be the remastered version, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, and 10-2. They're all coming to the Switch sometime next year. As I already mentioned, Maxima, which is the World of Final Fantasy thing, that's coming to PS4 as well. The Pocket Edition of Final Fantasy 15 is actually available now as well on PS4. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon and the Crystal Chronicles are all coming to PS4 when those games launch. So, oh, excuse me. Another game that got announced for the Switch is South Park. South Park: The Stick of Truth, which is the first of the South Park RPG-style games. The second being The Fractured But Whole, which still actually not played. The Stick of Truth is coming out. It's coming out on the 25th of September, which is in 6 days. So look forward to that. If you haven't played the game yet, you can now play it on the go or in your home. Look forward to that. Undertale was also announced. I don't think that actually had a release date, though, unfortunately. But that is coming to the Switch as well. The trailer they released was very, very trolly, not gonna lie. The thumbnail looked like something entirely different, and it said Undertale. I was like, is it the same Undertale or a different Undertale? And then the trailer was like, oh no, it is that Undertale. Nothing's getting changed. It's getting ported over. So yeah, but we have to talk about one little kind of problem with Nintendo's online service subscription thing. Now you see, thinking about it right now, I don't know if this same rule applies to PlayStation or Xbox. That would require some more research on my behalf. But with the Nintendo Cloud saves, if your subscription were to end, they will not keep the saves on the cloud. They would essentially be lost. They'd be lost to you and your account if your subscription were to end for some reason. Quote, the website says, quote, cannot be kept outside of the duration of your Nintendo Switch Online membership. Obviously, if you keep them saved, if you keep most recent versions saved on the system itself, you're safe. If you were to upload to the cloud, and that would be your most recent save, you're a bit knackered, and your subscription runs out and it's lost, you're a bit knackered. But it's why it's always wise to keep the most recent save somewhere close by and not on a cloud server, because as I say, if your subscription runs out, you lose that save. That could be God knows how many hours into Mario Kart or Breath of the Wild. Not Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, all gone on the cloud if you don't look after those saves. So beware of that, guys. As I say, it probably sounds like something similar that the PlayStation would do, and the Xbox would do as well. I'm not too sure on that. It could just be like a Nintendo thing. We'll find out more about that at some point. But moving on now as well. We mentioned Digimon before. I'm going to mention Digimon again. Digimon, I mentioned it a third time, and one more time, because the Digimon Story series, which is currently sits at 2 games, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. Take a breath. They're getting a 3rd game in that series. Now, whether that's going to be more hacking and Tokyo and all this kind of business situation, no idea. It's literally just only currently going into development. Still got a ways to go on that one. Digimon Survive, which is coming out sometime next year, that's going to be like the bridge between, I guess, to keep the video game interest in Digimon there. That's what Digimon Survive is going to be. And they hope that it does well enough to become another series. So we'll have three Digimon game series out there. We'll have the Digimon World series, which again only has 1 game right now, so I don't really think I class that as a series. Actually, no, it's technically no. It has more than one game. It's just we only have one of those games here in the West. Then there's Digimon Story Series, which is I really love, and then Digimon Survive, which I'm looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. It looks pretty good. Plus, as I say, I realised I like my tactic-based games, but I think specifically I like grid-based tactic-based games. We'll find out about that when it comes out. As I say, we're going to get a trailer very soon for Tokyo Game Show of Digimon Survive, and I'm very much looking forward to that when that comes out. Moving on, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Liam and I have made, we have not shied away from the fact that this game is something that neither of us are looking forward to. In our opinion, this game should not be coming out this year. Give it to next year and give us some more time to miss the fucking series, and don't just give us another game that looks the spit of another game. Even though, as we already discussed, it was worked on at the same time as the other game, but that's again tomato. Apparently, Assassin's Creed Odyssey has gone gold. For all the new listeners out there, when a game goes gold, that means it's out there. A finished product, quote unquote, is out there. It's being printed onto disc, put in boxes, labels are being printed, and the game is being shipped out worldwide. And along with this news, we also have details on the game's Season Pass. Now, obviously, a Season Pass will get you all the DLC that comes out post-launch. Story content, some items stuff sometimes, depends on the game. But it will also include a remastered version of Assassin's Creed 3, which is very similar to what they did to Far Cry 5 when that game came out. You bought the Season Pass for that, you got Far Cry 3 when that eventually got re-released. So they're doing the same thing now with Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 3. Now you see, I didn't hate Assassin's Creed 3, but it's not the kind of game I jumped to as to be like, oh yeah, this is well worth the investment into Season Pass. Although saying that now, thinking about it, when this game is to be released, you would you? No, you wouldn't. The Ezio trilogy only has Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelation, right? So those 3 games, and then Assassin's Creed 3, the only game missing from that first iteration would be the original Assassin's Creed game. But looking at how the other games played, you'd kind of feel very shell-shocked as to getting used to those different controls. But that's, again, by the by. So when you pre-order, when you get the Season Pass, for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that will include a remastered version of Assassin's Creed 3 when that launches. Still no word yet on when that is going to launch, but that's something to look forward to as well. Moving on now, nearly there. YouTube. Now, YouTube. Oh, God. Now, we love YouTube. We love YouTube very much. Please don't destroy our videos. They have a very funny algorithm when it comes to looking after their content. Now, at the minute, as we say, SpiderMan, PS4, not been out that long. We won't do spoilers on it unless we do a specific spoiler cast, which we haven't planned that yet. Anyone out there who is spoiling the game for other people, you suck. Just generally, you suck. Stop doing that. That is mean. It's a game that deserves to be experienced in its entirety. No spoilers. Unless you want to know and you don't care, then by all means go for it. But I still heavily suggest you experience the game as is, because it's fucking brilliant. YouTube is blocking videos that spoil the end of Spider-Man. Now, it's not outright saying you can't upload the end of the video. It's more so looking at the thumbnail of the video. If people have uploaded a screen grab of what happens at the end of it into the thumbnail, or just titled it saying this is what happens, then YouTube's blocking those videos, which I really can't I can't say this is a bad thing. This is YouTube's algorithm doing a good thing. It is stopping people spoiling things for other people. There was one story, in fact, of someone who, they weren't even watching a video that was game related, but the suggestions tab had a video in there that spoiled the end of the game for them. They hadn't reached the end of the game, but the suggestions tab showed them a video of the end. They didn't even watch the video, obviously, but the thumbnail and the title told them what was going to happen, and he was like, well, that's me spoiled for this fucking game. That's ridiculous. Shit like that, I'm completely down for YouTube blocking. Now, of course, again, it falls under the whole freedom of speech thing and uploads and such. But at the end of the day, if you're purposely putting thumbnails and titles that spoil stuff for other people, those videos need to be taken down. I don't think that's too much to ask, really. I think it's just fair. They need to be taken down or removed, or altered, should I say. But that's the story there. Insomniac has no say over this as well, by the way, so if anyone's going to go nuts at Insomniac saying their video's been taken down, it's not their fault. They have nothing to do with this. This is all YouTube, so don't bite the head off of Insomniac. Moving on again, Jump Force is a game that got announced this year at E3. It's essentially a shonen jump manga anime series fighter. There's Dragon Ball Z, there's Naruto, there's Bleach. Death Note's going to be in there as well a little bit. They've announced a new character. And this character, I'm not going to lie, really makes me confused. Because the character that's going to be in the game is Yugi Moto from Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game. And the cartoon, obviously. Now, it doesn't specify he's going to be a fighter character or a support character or anything like that. But he's going to be in the game. You can there will be an image out there, and in fact there'll probably have an image on screen now of Yugi's model in the game. But that is all we have so far. No footage, no details, no nothing. Just the fact that he's going to be in there. And that makes me confused, because I want to know how the fuck Yugi Moto is going to go toe-to-toe with Goku and not die or be obliterated. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Moving on again, we have a bit of information on Persona Dancing. Well, we have Persona 3 Dancing Moon Knight and Persona 4 Dancing Star Knight. Or the bundle collection, which is Endless Dancing Edition, whatever. Basically, they've announced that there is a pre-order bonus for the game. And again, opinions on pre-order bonuses aside, let's just get this story out of the way, okay? Shinjiro from Persona 3 and Goro Akechi from Persona 5 will be bonus playable characters for the Persona Dancing games. If you pre-order those characters... If you pre-order just the one version, you'll get the one character for that respective version. If you pre-order the big bundle version, which I really plan to do soon, I'm going to get both of them. Or you'll get both of them, should I say. They will just, I assume you'll get them on launch with the codes and all this kind of business. Now, this is something that no one's picked up on, but I feel need to mention this. In the same trailer they announced this, they showed off the cover art for Persona 3 and Persona 5 Dancing. And it has, on the banner on top, that it has PlayStation VR support. Not obviously required, but a VR mode is included. But that's it. They haven't mentioned anything about it yet so far. There's no images out there so far. I assume, it will literally be a case something like the Hatsune Miku games, where you just watch a character model dance on screen. Which wouldn't be very fun, but at the same time, I'm very curious to see how they're going to implement VR into Persona. We will see on that matter when the game comes out on the 4th of December this year. We'll see. And the last piece of news is a fucking cock tease all the same. Well, take it with a grain of salt. It's a freelance journalist who has sources inside the gaming industry who says that Rocksteady and whatever the fuck they're working on, be it a Superman game or whatever, they're going to show off their new project in either Q1 of 2019 or at E3 2019. So Q1 would be, January to January to March. I'm sorry, I don't know the fiscal year or the financial quarters of each year. Yes, January to March we'll find out about the Rocksteady's game, or at E3, which is June time. So it'll only be a few months after, really, Q2. That's something to look forward to. I hope, if it's true. I really hope it's true. I think everyone at this point really wants to know what Rocksteady is doing. SpiderMan just came out, and that was a great game. Rocksteady really reinvented the superhero game genre with the Arkham games, and I think we all collectively want to know what is next for Rocksteady. That is a great developer, and I think we'd all like to know what we can expect next from them. But that is it. That is the last story of this week's episode of the podcast. Thank you all so much for sitting here with me and listening out to this full hour's worth of content. I do appreciate every single second you spent with me. I love you all so, so much. Please give this episode a like on SoundCloud, like it on YouTube, subscribe as well if you already haven't. Like the Facebook page, we're always on there pretty much. We always share things all the time. We will see you guys next week when Liam should hopefully be back from Ireland, and the game, we all just lost it, as we always do. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye. Good. Okay. So. This is how you prepare for a video.